The timeless power of Stoicism. Did you know that the secret to transforming your life's biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities might have been discovered over 2,000 years ago? Imagine facing life's storms with a calm so powerful that nothing, absolutely nothing, could shake your inner peace. It sounds like a superpower, right? Well, here's the truth. It isn't just a fantasy. This ancient superpower is real, and it comes from a philosophy that has stood the test of time: Stoicism. Stoicism isn't about sitting on a mountain, detaching from the world, or pretending to be emotionless. Instead, it's about living with purpose, strength, and resilience no matter what life throws at you. It's about understanding yourself, mastering your reactions, and turning every obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Let's travel back for a moment. Picture the bustling streets of ancient Rome, markets filled with traders shouting over one another, soldiers marching, politicians debating in marble halls. Among this chaos walked men like Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who carried the weight of an entire empire on his shoulders. Seneca, a statesman and playwright, navigating the treacherous politics of the empire. And Epictetus, a former slave who rose to become one of the most respected philosophers of his time. Despite their very different backgrounds, they all leaned on Stoicism to stay grounded in turbulent times. Why? Because they understood one of the most profound truths about life. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. This is the heart of Stoicism, and it's what makes it as relevant today as it was 2 millennia ago. Control what you can, let go of the rest. The Stoics taught that much of our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgment of those events. Think about it: traffic, bad weather, losing a job, or receiving a hurtful comment online. None of these are inherently catastrophic. What creates the suffering is our reaction. The philosopher Epictetus put it bluntly: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is a powerful shift in perspective. Imagine sitting in traffic on your way to an important meeting. You can stew in anger, honk your horn, and stress yourself out, which won't make the cars move any faster. Or you can accept the reality, take a deep breath, and maybe use the time to listen to an audio book or reflect on your day. The situation hasn't changed, but your response has, and with it, your peace of mind. Modern psychology backs this up. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That's Stoicism in modern language, the gift hidden in obstacles. Another cornerstone of Stoic philosophy is the belief that obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled Rome during wars and plagues, wrote in his journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let's unpack that. Every obstacle you face is not just something to endure, it's something to learn from. Rejection, failure, setbacks, these moments aren't the end of the road. They're the training ground for resilience. Take rejection, for example. Imagine applying for job after job and hearing nothing but no. It's easy to spiral into doubt. But the Stoic approach asks, what can I learn here? Maybe you need to improve a skill, rewrite your CV, or change your approach. The rejection becomes feedback, guiding you toward growth. Or think about personal conflicts. They're uncomfortable, sure, but they also offer a chance to practice patience, empathy, and communication. A disagreement isn't just tension, it's an opportunity to refine your character. By flipping the script, obstacles stop being threats and start becoming teachers. Living in the present moment, one of the biggest thieves of peace is our tendency to live everywhere but the present. We obsess over the past, replaying mistakes, or we worry endlessly about the future, imagining disasters that might never come. The Stoics warned against this trap. Marcus Aurelius advised, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. The present is the only place life actually happens. It's where we can act, change, and experience joy. The Stoics weren't saying, ignore the past or don't plan for the future. Instead, they taught us to anchor ourselves in the now, to live fully in the only moment we truly possess. Modern mindfulness teachings echo this, and even neuroscience confirms the benefits. Living in the present reduces stress, sharpens focus, and increases happiness. So the next time you catch yourself lost in what ifs or if onlys, bring your attention back to this moment. Breathe, look around, feel the ground under your feet. Right here is where life happens, the strength of self-discipline. Now let's talk about something that often gets misunderstood: self-discipline. To many, the word sounds restrictive, like living a life of rules with no joy. But to the Stoics, discipline was about freedom. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Self-discipline is about mastering yourself. It's the ability to align your actions with your values, even when temptation or distraction pulls at you. It's choosing what serves your long-term growth over what feels good in the moment. For example, sticking to an exercise routine isn't punishment. It's an investment in your health. Saving money instead of impulse spending isn't deprivation, it's security and freedom for your future. Discipline is simply the art of saying yes to the things that matter most and no to the things that don't. The Stoics knew that no empire, no career, no life could stand without discipline. And modern psychology agrees discipline builds habits, and habits shape destinies. The first step. So where does this leave us? Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions or pretending life doesn't hurt. It's about understanding those emotions, managing them wisely, and choosing to act in ways that reflect our deepest values. It's about courage in adversity, gratitude in abundance, and calm in chaos. Building emotional resilience through Stoicism. Have you ever wondered why some people collapse under pressure while others seem to carry burdens with grace? Why some lose themselves in anger, fear, or doubt, while others remain steady no matter what life throws at them? The difference isn't luck, it's resilience. And for the Stoics, resilience was not just a trait you're born with, it was a skill you could practice, a mindset you could train, a way of living that turns hardship into strength. Building emotional resilience through Stoicism. What is emotional resilience? Resilience isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about facing reality as it is, without flinching, and then choosing how to respond. The Stoics taught that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our interpretations of them. When we learn to master our interpretations, we unlock resilience. Seneca said it clearly: we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about it, most of our stress doesn't come from what actually happened, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. A Stoic doesn't deny difficulty. They acknowledge it, but they refuse to let it define them. That is resilience in its purest form. The role of perspective. Imagine two people lose their jobs. One says, "This is the end. I'll never recover." The other says, "This is painful, but maybe it's also a chance to reset and grow." Same event. Two entirely different outcomes. The Stoics believed that perspective was everything. By training yourself to see setbacks as teachers instead of punishments, you strengthen your emotional core. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." Resilience is perspective, and perspective is a choice. Turning pain into power. Another Stoic practice was to transform pain into purpose. When life gets heavy, it's easy to ask, "Why me?" But Stoicism flips the question. How can I use this? Lost a relationship? Use the grief to rediscover your independence. Failed in business? Use the lessons to refine your strategy. Betrayed by someone close? Use the hurt to strengthen your boundaries. Every challenge, no matter how painful, contains a seed of growth. The Stoics didn't just endure suffering, they mined it for wisdom, resilience in daily life. Now let's bring this down to the modern world. Because let's face it, we're not emperors, generals, or philosophers in ancient Rome. Our battles look different. Social media criticism, work stress and burnout, financial uncertainty, relationship struggles, health challenges, but the Stoic mindset applies just the same. When insulted online, remind yourself, this says more about them than me. When overwhelmed at work, ask, what's within my control right now? When uncertain about the future, remember, the present moment is all I can act on. This is resilience, not avoiding life's blows, but absorbing them without losing your balance. A Stoic exercise, the view from above. One powerful Stoic technique is called the view from above. Close your eyes and imagine zooming out of your life, rising higher and higher until you see your city, your country, even the earth itself. Suddenly, that problem that felt overwhelming looks tiny against the vastness of existence. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. It reminded him that his personal troubles were just a drop in the ocean of time. This perspective builds resilience by shrinking problems to their true size. Midway reminder, engagement. Before we go deeper, let me pause for just a second. If this message resonates with you, if Stoic wisdom is opening your eyes to new strength, then take a moment to like this video so more people can find it. Share it with someone who needs resilience in their life. And don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Corner, because each week we bring you powerful lessons from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and more to help you master your mind and live with strength. All right, let's continue. Preparing for adversity. One of the most practical Stoic habits was premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would imagine worst-case scenarios, not to scare themselves, but to prepare their minds. Epictetus told his students, when you kiss your child, whisper to yourself, tomorrow he may die. This wasn't morbid. It was training the heart not to cling, but to cherish what it has while it has it. In modern life, this could look like imagining losing your job, then asking, how would I survive? What steps would I take? By mentally rehearsing hardship, you reduce fear and build resilience before the storm even arrives. The power of acceptance. Resilience isn't just about fighting through challenges. It's also about accepting what cannot be changed. Seneca wrote, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. In other words, life will unfold as it does. You can either fight reality or you can walk with it. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means conserving your energy for what you can change, instead of wasting it on what you can't. That's resilience. Resilience and emotional mastery. The Stoics didn't deny emotions. They felt fear, anger, sadness, and joy, just like we do. But they refused to be ruled by them. They practiced observing emotions without being consumed. Modern psychologists call this emotional regulation. It's the ability to feel fully, but respond wisely. Next time anger rises, pause. Next time fear whispers, breathe. Next time sadness lingers, allow it, but don't drown in it. This is emotional resilience, the art of feeling deeply without being destroyed. And resilience isn't just about surviving storms, it's about using storms to strengthen your roots. The Stoic art of walking away without explanation. There's a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need applause, doesn't need validation, doesn't even need to be understood. It's the strength of walking away not with drama, not with anger, not with a need to prove your worth, but with silence, clarity, and dignity. Most people believe strength is loud. They think it's in arguments and defending yourself, in long explanations that prove your side of the story. But the Stoics knew better. Real power is not in proving, it's in choosing. Choosing where to invest your time, your energy, and your presence. And sometimes the wisest choice you can make is simply to walk away. Why walking away is power. Think about it. Every time you argue with someone who refuses to understand you, what do you gain? Every time you try to prove your loyalty to someone who never valued it, what do you win? Every time you fight to explain your boundaries to someone committed to crossing them, what do you protect? Nothing. The Stoics believe that energy is life's most precious currency. Once spent, it cannot be reclaimed. To waste it on fruitless battles is to bankrupt yourself. To preserve it through silence is to become wealthy in peace. Walking away without drama isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's the recognition that not every battle deserves your sword. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every relationship deserves your continued presence. The silence that speaks, Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." 2. Walk away calmly is to prove this truth. Because when you refuse to mirror disrespect, when you refuse to match chaos with chaos, you show a kind of strength that words cannot touch. Silence communicates what arguments never can. It says, "I no longer need this. I no longer choose this. My peace is greater than this." People may accuse you of being cold, distant, or selfish. Let them. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. In fact, their reaction reveals the truth. They only valued your presence when they could drain it. By walking away without explanation, you teach them the lesson words could never make stick. Your presence is not a guarantee. It must be earned. A Stoic exercise. The door closed quietly. Picture yourself in a situation where someone disrespects your boundaries repeatedly. Instead of arguing, instead of shouting, instead of rehearsing the perfect speech in your head, imagine yourself quietly standing, gathering your things and leaving the room. No words, no warnings, just silence. That door closing softly behind you says more than an hour of yelling ever could. The Stoics practice this kind of restraint. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks badly of you, lie so that no one will believe it." In the same way, if someone treats you without value, live in such a way that your absence forces them to see what they lost. The illusion of closure. One reason people struggle to walk away silently is the desire for closure. We think, if I explain myself one last time, maybe they'll understand. Maybe they'll finally change. But the Stoics remind us, closure doesn't come from them, it comes from you. You do not need their acknowledgement to move on. You do not need their apology to heal. Closure is a decision, not a conversation. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." And the craving for closure is a form of poverty. It keeps you begging for understanding when you already have enough wisdom to walk away, the courage of self-respect. Walking away is not easy. It requires courage. It means facing loneliness. It means being misunderstood. It means resisting the temptation to defend yourself. But here's the truth. If someone truly respected you, you would never have to beg them to. If someone truly valued your presence, they would not gamble with losing it. If someone truly cared, they would not need you to explain why their actions hurt you. They would already know. So when you walk away, you are not abandoning them. You are protecting you. You are honoring your soul's need for peace. You are declaring with your silence, "I will no longer participate in my own disrespect." Modern examples of walking away. Let's bring this into daily life. In relationships, instead of pleading with someone who takes you for granted, step back and let your distance do the talking. In friendships, instead of arguing with friends who only call when they need something, simply stop showing up for one-sided loyalty. At work, instead of engaging in toxic office politics, focus on your craft, your growth, and your exit strategy. Online, instead of clapping back at trolls, let your silence starve them of the attention they crave. Every time you walk away quietly, you reclaim time, energy, and dignity. The Stoic standard of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you allow people to reveal themselves without trying to control the outcome. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. By extension, if it is not nourishing, do not keep it." Walking away without explanation is detachment in action. It is the courage to say, "I will not chase. I will not beg. I will not force. I will let go." Resentment versus resolution. Notice the difference. Resentment is when you walk away but carry bitterness with you. Resolution is when you walk away and carry peace. The Stoics were not bitter men. They were men of clarity. When they walked away, they did not curse the past, they simply faced forward. This is the essence of Stoic walking away. No grudges, no noise, no fanfare. Just a clean exit that preserves dignity on both sides. So remember this. Walking away without explanation is not coldness, it's clarity. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not selfishness, it's self-respect. The world is noisy. People will demand your energy, your words, your explanations. But you owe no one your peace. You owe no one your soul. You owe only yourself the dignity of living aligned with your worth. And sometimes the greatest statement you will ever make is silence. Setting the standard and never lowering it. Every person has a standard. The question is, do you honor it or do you lower it every time someone pushes against it? The truth is simple. Life will only meet you at the level of the standard you set. If you accept disrespect, it will multiply. If you tolerate manipulation, it will deepen. If you bend your boundaries for approval, people will expect you to keep bending. But when you hold your standard firmly, without anger, without argument, simply through your actions you train the world how to treat you. This is the Stoic way. Not begging for respect, not demanding it through loud words, but commanding it through calm, consistent boundaries. What is a standard? A standard is not a wish. It is not a hope. It is not a request. A standard is the line you will not cross, the level you will not drop below, the boundary that defines your self-respect. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By extension, the quality of your relationships depends on the standards you set. If your thoughts are disciplined, your standards will be disciplined. And if your standards are disciplined, your life will attract only those who honor them." Why people test you? When you set a boundary or raise your standard, do not be surprised when people push against it. Some will test you because they benefited from the old you, the one who said yes too often, who explained too much, who tolerated too long. Others will test you because they cannot imagine a life where someone says no and means it. Do not take these tests personally. They are not proof that your standard is wrong. They are proof that your standard is working. The Stoics knew this truth. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" To demand the best is to set the standard. To protect it is to endure the tests without breaking. The temptation to lower your standard. There will be moments when you feel lonely, when silence weighs heavy, when people accuse you of being too cold, too distant, too hard to please. And in those moments, the temptation will come. Maybe I should lower my standard. Maybe I should accept less just to feel connected. But here's the cost. Every time you lower your standard, you betray yourself. Every time you accept less than what nourishes your soul, you trade your peace for crumbs. And crumbs never satisfy. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Lowering your standard is the greatest waste, because you spend precious years living beneath your worth, walking alone with dignity. It is better to walk alone with dignity than surrounded by people who only value the version of you that betrays yourself. Walking alone is not emptiness. It is space, and space is sacred. It is the ground on which new, healthier relationships can grow. The Stoics believed solitude was not something to fear, but to master. In solitude, you discover who you truly are, what you truly value, and what you will no longer tolerate. If holding your standard means some doors closed, let them. The right ones will never require you to shrink to fit. How to set and protect your standard. 1. Know your worth. Spend time reflecting on what you truly deserve, not from ego, but from clarity. Write down the treatment, respect, and values that align with your soul. 2. Communicate once, then act. A standard is not a debate. You don't need to repeat it endlessly. State it calmly, then let your actions enforce it. 3. Refuse to chase. If someone walks away because you refuse to lower your standard, let them. That's not loss, it's protection. 4. Be consistent. The power of a standard is not in setting it once, but in holding it every time. 5. Honor your own rules. Do not ask of others what you do not ask of yourself. If you demand honesty, be honest. If you demand respect, live respectfully. Your life must mirror your standards. The ripple effect of high standards. When you refuse to lower your standards, something powerful happens. People who cannot meet them naturally drift away. People who rise to meet them grow stronger in your presence. You attract those who share your values, not just your time. Your standard becomes a filter. It protects you from chaos. It draws in only those aligned with your soul. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In the same way, waste no more time explaining your standards. Live them." The final Stoic lesson. In this series, we've explored jealousy, silence, walking away, and now standards. And the final Stoic truth is this: you will only live as high as the standard you set. If you set it low, you will crawl. If you set it high, you will rise. The Stoics never lived for applause. They lived for alignment, for clarity, for peace. And that is what your standards protect, not your pride, but your peace. So ask yourself today, what is the standard I will no longer lower? Write it down. Live it daily. And let the world adjust or leave. Closing. This is the art of Stoic living. To be unshaken by jealousy. To be powerful in silence. To walk away without noise. To set your standard and never lower it. If you live this way, you will not need to shout your worth. The world will feel it in your presence, your silence, and your unwavering peace. And that, my friend, is how you become untouchable.